My name is Boniface Mwangi. I'm a photographer and an activist. And I am in Kisumu right now at OneVibe, an amazing place. I took my first photos when I was about 14 years old. And then I became like a photographer when I was about 21. And photography has transformed my life. I think I see the world through the lens of my camera. That's how I see the world. The photography has taken me far. Without photography, I wouldn't be here today. Photography is how I feed my family even today. Like I ran for elective office last year. I lost the elections, then I went back to photography. It's my bread and butter and also my passion.
Activism! Hey!
My journey to activism wasn't like one event. It was many events. I was expelled from school at the age of 15 for talking about issues in our school. I was expelled. And that meant that after being expelled, I was like, hey, usibonge sana, utomia. So I realized that when you speak up, you get punished for that. So I became silent and I became normal like everyone else. So the election violence that happened in 2007-2008, I was working as a photographer. And seeing that violence and documenting that violence affected me in a way that I've never been the same again. I saw the violence and I documented the violence, and I realized that Kenyans were fighting over people who they did not even know. Like we fight for politicians that you have never met. And as a photographer, because I took the pictures and I saw the first time the violence, I never forgot them. And that drove me to quit my job and to the journey that now I'm known as an activist, that I speak up when things go wrong and I care about my neighbor and I care for the poor or oppressed. So I'm not very, very different. I'm just living up to the Bible. I love my neighbor and I care about my neighbor, and that's why I'm an activist. As a human being, I think every single person is called to be an activist. And that means you're an active citizen. You hold your leaders accountable in everything that they're doing. You ensure that the systems work. I think even the Bible has one of the biggest commandments is love your neighbor as you love yourself. And loving your neighbor means that you care about your neighbor and you care about your neighbor's welfare. And caring about your neighbor's welfare is activism. That's actually activism. When I care about how are you, did you eat, who harassed you, are you fine? That's activism. So you get threatened, you get beaten, I've been shot, you go to jail. It's part of the struggle. I think there's everything that you do, there's a price to pay. And so how do you deal with that? I think you have to look at the bigger vision. Why are you doing it? What's your motivation? If your motivation is money and fame, you're going to give up or you're going to sell out. Because it comes at a time where you get so frustrated, actually you just say, nimeshindwa, wache kai. But for me, it's like a calling. I have to do it. I care. There's a time I said that I've quit activism, and they called the media, they came to my house. I did like a mini press conference and an interview, but I'd been threatened, so I was afraid of dying. Then I realized even my silence, they can kill me in my silence. So I continue speaking. One of the things about activism is that things change because of the action that you take. A good example is Langata Primary School. The land had been grabbed, the playground was gone. But with just one protest, we recovered the playground, and that one action led to many other schools being titled. There's so many schools titled deeds today because of Langata Primary School. So one action or two actions can lead to actually big change. And so you live to know that the small steps that you take and the small actions that you take can result to a bigger change, and that's why you do it. No, I went to Maseno School of the Blind where the land had been grabbed. And we went to speak to the community and tell the community that you need to actually get involved. And so what we're trying to do is actually educating communities that you can defend the land by just ensuring that no one in your community betrays and goes to work for the land grabber. And so when I went to Maseno, it was just telling them this school owns the land and this land belongs to the school. And this land cannot be grabbed unless you allow it, because for the land grabber to get here, he'll pass through your community, he'll pass through your village, and he'll come and hire local people. He won't bring guys from far to come and work here. So you refuse. That's how you empower people. And once people know they can take action and resist that, then they're able to take action. It's all about teaching young people to resist and teaching communities actually that you need to protect the land that has been, that community land. You need to protect school land. Many years ago, and most schools in this country were built on land donated by the community. So the community used to give land for schools to be built. Now how can one person who is very greedy come and take that land away from the community? So the community must actually care about themselves and care about the children's future and say, we shall not allow anyone to take the land away from us. Photography pays my rent and activism makes me happy. And I love both. They're both passions. But I taken a break from photography for a while, but I'm back to photography. And activism is not like something that you stop and go back and stop and go back like photography. Activism is a way of life. The way I live my life, the things that I do is a form of activism. Even going to give a speech somewhere is also a form of me educating other people and activating other people. Me, I love motorbikes, so I ride a lot. I love fighting sports, but I don't fight. So I do a bit of those things. I have a bit of fighting skills. What else? I have a family. I'm a father of 3 kids and a very beautiful wife. Her name is Njeri. And then I love books. I wrote a book called Boniface Mwangi Unbounded. So the book is about my journey, about how I became who I am today. So it's the work of, the best of my work. That's photography and my activism work, and who I am, where I grew up, and how I became who I became. My grandparents were freedom fighters. My grandfather was in jail for 6 years. So it's a story about my journey into activism, the best of my photography, and what I think should happen in this country. So it's a story about modern day Kenya through my eyes as a photographer and an activist and a citizen of this country.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to present this year's Muhammad Amin Photojournalist of the Year Award to Boniface Mwangi of the Standard in Kenya.
I can't say I haven't accomplished much, but I think every success should motivate you to go to the next height. So there's only one power in Nairobi, and it serves maybe a few thousand people. Kenya has 50 million people, so I've just scratched the surface. I need to do much more. I've won many awards in photography. The list is long. I think in my generation, in my kind of photography, that is reportage and documentary photography, I'm the most decorated Kenyan photographer. You have to believe in yourself. You have to work very, very hard. You must define where you're going and decide what do I need to get there. If it's more education, if it's more exposure in a particular skill, you need to get that. And I think lastly and most importantly is that you can never achieve anything without courage. You need courage to do anything in life. So in whatever you do, get courage and speak courage fluently.